Hey guys, going camera phone on this for a little intro to this video. Do they still call them camera phones, or is it just smartphones now? Doesn't matter. So this is the interview that I was part of when I went to Brewdog 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago now. Yep. And it is with James and Martin, who are the founders of Brewdogs, or you might know them from their TV show, also called Brewdogs. Brewdogs. Yep. And it is, basically they sat down with us and let us ask questions, and we also had a tasting with them. So the tasting is in there as well. I didn't really know what to do with this footage, hence this this kind of introduction thing. It is like an hour long, and it's shot with my tiny little camera cube thing. So the sound is not the greatest, and the camera angle is not the awesomest either. So I didn't know if I should split it down into a bunch of little videos or leave it like whole. And in the end, I decided to do kind of both, a hybrid. So if you're familiar with like DVD menus where you can do like chapter selection, I'm gonna do something similar to that with annotation links. You're gonna see the screen go black here in a second, and there will be little annotations to different sections of the video that are for like different questions or different beers that we tried. So if you'd like to hear James and Martin talk about, just a certain subject or a certain beer, then you can click around, or you can just start it, and it's about an hour long, discussion about beer and Brewdog and answering questions and talking about beer. It's really cool, but I understand it's super long. So I hope you enjoy it. Click around if you're interested, and sorry for that time when the camera got knocked off the table and flew around the room, and that's really crazy. But see you next time. I hope you enjoy this interview. Later, guys.
Can there, but we are control freaks, so even though we were making our beer ourselves, in fact it was drug tanker, meant there was potential for oxygen pickup, and we just couldn't control every part of the process, which is why we wanted to put in a road cannon line and control that.
Yeah, and you're cannon and someone else's cannon line, so again you're not controlling that part of the process. And the majority of canned in two different places, and both times, when you go down and do an audit, you see things that you would improve if it was your system, but because it's not your system, you can't really do much about it. So the key for us was getting our cannon line started as soon as we could. So it was a big investment with the KHS cannon line. With KHS and Crohn's are making the best filling machines in the world between bottling and canning. So it took us a bit of time to decide which one to go for, but the oxygen pickup in this is sitting around about, well, the last time when we tested it, we were getting about 9 parts per billion pickup, so it's very, very low. And the packaging of beer is never going to bring anything in terms of quality. All it's going to do is deteriorate the quality if it's done poorly. So that's why it's so crucial that you get a very good machine that's putting the beer into the package and then sealing it. So once that's done, then it's as fresh as we can make it. But if you have a crap machine that does it, then there's a big chance of ruining the beer before it goes into the package.
Can we go and see the canning line again? It wasn't in action when we went round, and I'd love to see it.
Yeah, we can have a look. It's running pretty intermittently just now, because it got tested 3 weeks ago, but this is the first sort of running. We did a size change, so everyone's just kind of getting used to it. But you'll see it.
So the big cans again, from the first big cans.
Yeah, so we've also done, we've been doing pretty much everything in 330s, but we're also putting Punk IP in 500 ml cans as well. So those are the big cans.
I haven't seen the 500 ml before.
Okay.
Is that I mean, you
They're
got
in
them here.
these mini bags.
I know
Oh,
they
they-
are, I know, but have they been on the market and I've just missed them
Oh
before?
no, and we haven't even launched them in the market yet, so no one apart from people who visited here have seen them yet. So they're not yet.
When you
How
say
much?
nine parts per million, that's
Parts
just
per
during the
billion.
billion, yeah. That's just during the
pickup during canning.
canning, yeah. And like grown cap isn't airtight. It leaks about 2 parts a day or something like that. You get oxygen into the bit, so
Yes.
and this is totally.
Yes, so I mean with the sealing process in a can, it's pretty much the ideal package for beer to be in.
I agree, but it's a discussion. Some people can.
But it will keep
some
longer,
don't,
huh?
so.
It'll keep longer, and again, we do a lot of exports, so we're about 60% of the beer that we make goes overseas. If you compare a can to a bottle to shipping overseas, you get 110 cases with cans in a pallet as opposed to 72, so there's a logistics saving. They're lighter, so you're having less of a carbon footprint. They're easier to recycle once they get to their destination, so there's a really strong environmental argument for us doing more and more export with cans as opposed to bottles in our business.
Yeah, but it makes sense. I mean, if these are to end up in a supermarket somewhere in northern Norway, it will take some. The rotation is rather low in some of these shops, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and they always put the best beer on the top shelf.
Yeah.
Because of the light.
Okay, so
Yeah.
How much did the canning machine cost?
the canning machine in total cost about
£2 million, yeah, about €2.5 million.
Whoa. And do you have an idea, like the number of cans you did last year and then the number you're projecting you're going to do now with the new canning?
I think overall last year we would have canned just under 2,000 hectolitres, so we count everything in hectolitres.
Right.
And this year we're projecting between now and the end of the year to can between 15 and 20,000 hectolitres,
Mhm.
so it'll enable us to can 10 times more beer than we have been able in the past. But the key thing is not how much more beer we can can, it's the fact that now we can be completely obsessive about every single part of the process.
Yeah, it was very much something that we didn't want to push too heavily because we weren't in complete control of the canning process. You know, we had to dump 3 tankers of beer that from filling here to when we check it when it gets down to its destination, the either small cracks or valves that weren't working properly in the tanker. But you know, if you get a big oxygen pickup between here and there, then you can't do anything other than ditch the beer. So it was far from perfect.
Yeah, I mean the main obsession with everyone in the company is the passion we have for the beer, but also the obsession with always kind of striving to make sure we're making the best beers that we possibly can. So we've also now got the 10 hectolitre pilot system here that enables us to continually kind of test new beers, different things. So as part of today's testing, we're going to taste a sour beer that we made in the 10 hectolitre system as well. Did any of you guys ever visit us when we were up in Fraserburgh? And you guys make it up there? And we see photos of it? Yeah, it was very, very different to what we've got here. So we basically spent the first 5 years of our existence there, but there was a building that was falling to pieces, a building that we were renting from the council that we cobbled together, and second-hand equipment, and just worked as hard as we could with that equipment to be able to build this facility. And we've only been able to, we've only been able to do this through, I'm sure you guys are aware of what we call equity for punks. Any equity punk investors here? Yeah. So for us, any small company that is going to grow their business, they've got to decide how they do that and where that money comes from. And conventionally, most choices for small businesses involves them having to compromise something in order to get that money to grow. So if you deal with venture capitalists, they'll have conditions, and if you do what our friends at Meantime have done, I'm sure that's going to come with some conditions and some connotations and stuff as well. So what we wanted to make sure was that the people who owned our company were as passionate about the beers as we are. We make our beers in a stupidly expensive way. Each beer is in tank for about a month. We'll lose 20 to 25% of each batch because the amount of dry hops we put in, which is about 1 kilo per hectolitre. It doesn't make any sense, but we don't care. For us, it's all about what goes into glass, what goes in the bottle, and the fact that we're owned, the company's owned by people that care that much about beer means that we can continue doing that and not have any pressure from anyone, which is why we're so keen to build this Equity Punks model. Equity for Punks Tour is ongoing at the moment, and we're really excited that we raised £5 million in the first 3 weeks, and we've now got 22,000 Equity Punk investors, which is really cool. And we just started building, and you guys might have seen the land moving stuff, we just started building in the adjacent site, which we also own. So that building's going to be finished in about 5 months' time, and we're going to have a 300 hectolitre brew house operational in addition to this one to help us keep up with demand. So the key challenge for us still at the moment is keeping up with the demand that we have for our beers, which is pretty scary because it just feels like yesterday it was me and Martin filling bottles by hand and struggling to sell them. But yeah, so much demand for our beer, and that's why we're making this big investment. And we also bought the land opposite us as well, so we can continue to expand here.
Do you feel that you've got a handle on how you are strategically deciding on how you deal with that demand? Because from what you're saying, it sounds like it is a roller coaster. Do you feel you're in the right position to make the right decisions to kind of handle that growth?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've got what we're like it's beer and people, and we've got our really great kind of team of people that help myself and Martin. We've done the business, so we've got a great head of sales who can look after strategic selling. And the key focus for us at the moment is trying to sell beer closer to us and trying to ensure we sell our beer fresher. So the word today that we're getting to taste today is to help educate people about the importance of hoppy beers being fresh. So our beers there's more of our beers being sold closer to here at the moment, which is great because it means people get the best experience possible with fresh hoppy beer.
With the equity for Punks as well, when you first decided you were going to do it, did you have any inkling of how successful it was going to be? Because it seems quite overwhelming. You just said like 22,000 people.
Yeah, but I mean the first one. So when we did equity for Punks 1, we got it was under 1,000 investors, and we raised just over £500,000. So it's kind of grown and developed us as a company. But what we love about it is it builds this culture and community around about what we do, and we're able to take our beer drinkers and our fans on this journey with us, and they're complicit in part of our success and part of what we've built here. So it's just really cool for them to be like such an important part of our business. But yeah, the first time we did it, it was definitely scary, and we gambled our entire future on making that work. So the legal fees and everything in setting up equity for Punks the first time was £100,000, and that was at a time when we had about £50,000 in our bank account. So it was a big gamble at the time, and if it hadn't raised over £500,000, we'd have probably disappeared as a little company. So yeah, it was a big fun.
Do you plan to stop bottling the core range, or are you going to keep bottling?
Oh, keep
Bottling as well,
Yeah, we're getting good.
How much do you brew in a year now, and how much do you expect to brew with the new brew house?
So the plan for this year for us is to make about between 150 and 160,000 hectolitres. The new brew house will instantly give us capacity of up to kind of between 400 and 500,000 hectolitres, but also the capacity to expand beyond that as well.
And what's the split with exports? And
We're about 65% overseas at the moment.
And where are your key markets?
Key markets, so Scandinavia is really important for us. Scandinavia, Italy, France, Spain, and then also Japan. So those are your top export markets.
And the US?
The US at the moment for us is very small, and we're looking to change that. So you guys may have heard we're looking to build our own sister facility to this out in the States. But the issue with the States is our importer is based on the West Coast, and there's a 3-tier distribution system out there, which means by the time our beers get to the customer, it's older than it should be, and it's also much more expensive than it should be. And if you've got the choice between Stone IPA or our IPA at twice the price and older, it doesn't make sense. So we've got such a huge following in the States. We've had 3 seasons of the TV show out there, so there's a huge opportunity for us to do something really exciting, but we just can't service that market from here with the scale and the structure of it.
You say pretty much what I'm saying about the Americans the other way around.
The other way around, yeah.
You should know when to buy it.
I've got a stupid question, which is why did you decide to put the brewery here? Is it like where you
Oh,
are?
yeah.
Or
Yeah, we're both local. Symbolic. Thank you. Yeah, we're both grew up in this area, in Peterhead and Fraserburgh, so 20 miles north of here. When we set up the company, originally setting it up in the northeast of Scotland, logistically is the most idiotic place to set it up, especially when the beer market when we started the company was the variation of Tennent's Lager, maybe some Belhaven Best if you're in a golf club, or I don't know, Budweiser or Coors, Foster's. That was about the range of beers that you could get up here.
Guy who drank Guinness.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, setting the company up here was kind of stupid from that side, but at the same time meant that we could live at home, so we didn't have to pay any rent, so you could kind of live for free, and you knew a local electrician, you knew a local welder, so you could kind of beg, borrow, and steal to get things up and running. You could get your friends round at the weekend to help package and stuff. So from a cost perspective, it was the only way we could really start the company. But from the kind of logistics and how to sell beer in the market we were selling beer into, it was probably, and the type of beer we were making, it was probably one of the most stupid things that you could do.
But now I guess then you're employing a considerable number of local people then, in boosting the local economy in that sense, in terms of people coming into like the bar here, but also people that work here.
Yeah, so there's about probably 150 people based up in Ellen as the headquarters, and then about 400 I think in total for the company with all the bar employees as well. So this is Electric India, so it's a sort of American style Saison, American hops and a French Saison yeast.
Mr. French yeast, would it be a beer de garde yeast rather than a Saison yeast? That just makes splitting hairs.
It's sold as a Saison yeast.
No, Saisons traditionally was kind of banning that French Belgian border, so you get Saisons on the French side and you get Saisons on the Belgian side. And beer de garde is a very different type of fermentation and a very different type of yeast. So the Saison is super highly attenuated, higher temperature during fermentation, kicking off a lot of kind of earthy, peppery, spicy esters, whereas a beer de garde much more residual sweetness, cellared after agents.
Yeah, so I guess this beer is all about the sort of pepperiness coming from the yeast versus the lemon citrus that you get from the hops and some lemon peel.
But being a Saison, it's got that kind of effervescence, it kind of dances along your tongue and just kind of hammers down the flavors.
Yeah, very dry and a bit of bitterness at the back as well, being an American style Saison.
And this is part of our seasonal range, so this year we're doing 4 seasonals in addition to our core range. So we did the Alice Porter as our winter one, this is our spring one, we've got a pale ale called Hop Fiction as our summer one, and then going into autumn we're going to do a kind of spin on a amber beer. So if you guys, German alt beer called Alt Amber, which was one of our prototype challenge beers last year.
What was it? One of the
Prototype challenge. So each year we do a prototype challenge where we make 4 test batches, then we sell them on our online shop, and then people vote as to which beer we should make more of. So we love involving our customers as much as possible in the decisions when it comes to what beers that we're making.
An alt amber.
Yeah, so it's an alt beer. Yeah, just Düsseldorf alt beer. Yeah. Which is
Go very well with sushi.
yes, it's just a pity we don't have any here. Unless anyone's got a salmon in their suitcase.
Well, we are Norwegians, but not that.
We go fire.
Reminds me a bit of the American from called what's it called? India Cicerone.
Yeah. It's similar, so it kind of combines the hops of pale ale / IPA with the malt bill and yeast profile of that Saison.
I'm just happy that you said no, because I realised I couldn't pronounce it correctly. And I'm like,
Everyone are so shy about, this the big Brewery.
yeah.
They started canning as well. But it was very hard to can.
Sorry, can't see.
It's kind of.
That's because they've been brought up in another company.
Yeah.
Yes, Hansa, they are doing the canning. But I think that's doesn't stop them from developing as a company.
And can we take in a few of the bottles to have on the table as well?
Yes, we should have some.
Okay, cool. So the next beer we're going to taste is something very special, and you guys are going to never tasted no one outside our bottle company has tasted it so far. And this is something that is heavily inspired by Stone and Joy by. Don't know if any of you guys have seen or had Stone and Joy by. Greg Cook's a good buddy, and I had a conversation with him, and it was with his blessing that we kind of borrowed and bastardized the concept somewhat for the UK. And the whole idea behind this beer,
This is the one you bottled today?
it's just straight off the bottling line. It's not launching till next week. We could get a few other bottles as well, just so we can show the guys some bottles. Yeah, so the whole idea is to raise awareness about how important it is that you drink hoppy beers like IPAs and double IPAs as fresh as you can get them, because that hop character does fade as soon as the beer hits the packaging. So it's an 8.5% double IPA. In contrast to Hardcore, which has got a bit of kind of malt complexity and quite a big malt backbone, this one we wanted to keep the malt bill really clean, so it's just our pale malt in there, and we've just hammered the hell out of it with our favourite American hops. There's Simcoe, there's Citra, there's Mosaic in there. I like the hop Simcoe so much that I've got a dog at home called Simcoe as well. So, but the whole idea is a huge, big, aggressive, well attenuated, needle sharp, hoppy as hell IPA that just gets people excited about drinking all hoppy beers as fresh as they can get them, and lets people know about that.
And big different size bottle?
Yeah, so this one we wanted to put in the 660 bottle, so we do use that bottle for some of our beers. We sell Punk IPA in that size bottle quite well in the UK, and for us this is something that we've made just such a tiny batch of. It's going to be very difficult to get your hands on it because we made such a small batch. It's an experimental beer, so we wanted to put it in a big bottle so people would share it with friends, so you've got that communal kind of community aspect when you're enjoying this beer. Or if you wanted to throw caution to the wind in a school night, you could just down the whole thing yourself.
I had a glass with one of Stone's used a couple of months ago.
So there's been a lot of double IPA, triple IPA
Yeah.
from British brewers come out
Yeah.
recently. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
None of them are that clear.
Yeah.
What are you doing differently?
I think the advantage that we've got here is our systems are slightly bigger, and we've got our centrifuge here. So this beer has only had one pass through the centrifuge, so we don't external filter our beer, because what we're doing is essentially stripping the flavour out. But by passing it through the centrifuge, it means we can avoid being super murky in the glass, make it visually appealing, but keep the flavours in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a project that our production guys have had since we started here with the separator, is understanding hoppy beers, especially dry hop beers, and how you can get it into a glass consistently for us bright like this, but it's just through one pass of the separator, and this one is the first. It's got a slightly modified dry hopping technique that we've been working on. So this is the first beer that we've actually released with that slightly altered. I won't tell you what it is, but it's a change in our dry hopping technique. So we spend a hell of a lot of time trying to understand what's actually going on inside our tanks when we're dry hopping. So we've shoot shot hops in the top, we've recirculated hops, we've changed temperatures, we've changed hopping rates, and it's all about trying to get the freshest, juiciest hop flavour into the beer, and at the same time being able to pass it through our separator without it looking like pea soup when it comes out the back of it. So it's kind of testament to John and some of the cellar team, and the amount of work and effort they've done to get this. There's about 1.4 or 1.5 kilos per hectolitre of hops in this. It's a massively hoppy beer. You can probably
What
smell
would
it.
the norm be?
Well, for us, our normal is about 1 kilo per hectolitre,
yes.
but
Which is not normal at all. It's
but-
stupid.
but
What
that's-
would someone else be?
but that's crazy. So I would say, like, for dry hop beers in America, the average would be like 0.3 kilos per kilos per hectolitre, and we're running at about 1.
But if you was to compare this to something like a standard Peroni or Heineken or Stella, per litre this would have between 70 and 80 times more hops in it. And hops are very, very expensive. So the equivalent hopping rate in the big tanks that you guys would have seen outside, if we put this beer in one of those big tanks, the dry hopping would be well over a ton of hops. And a ton of hops would equate to,
And what pounds?
yeah.
About 20,000 pounds.
So for one of the big tanks to do this, it's 20,000 pounds of hops just in the dry hopping. But we don't care how much your beers cost to make. But the other thing you've got, because you're putting that much hops into it, then your losses are 30% plus. And another reason that we can do this so clear, the tanks that we've, see if I can do a diagram here. So the tanks that we've, feels like a lecture. So the fermentation tanks that we've got, we've developed specifically with the supplier. So all the tanks you'll see are shaped like this, with the cone at the bottom. So we've dry hop, and the dry hops eventually settle out, but then we've got our rack and port here, so we're taking the clear beer off the top of the dry hops, whereas most smaller brewers, everything just comes out in a guddle, but then we can leave the dry hops in the tank, and it just means that what we're putting through our centrifuge, we've got a better chance of keeping all the flavour in, but getting the beer to look visually appealing in the glass, which I think is quite important.
And you say this is just at the dry hopping, so you've put in at various earlier stages anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like you're doing less earlier.
No. We've also adapted our system earlier on as well to use a hell of a lot of whirlpool hops, so it's putting in the hops after the kettle as you're sort of spinning the beer out. So again, you can get more flavour in there without so much bitterness. Yep.
And for me, the hop character in this one, it's a really nice mix between that kind of tropical stone fruit citrus, but it's also got a little bit of that kind of spicy, piney, kind of resinous kind of note in there just to kind of ground it as well.
Yeah, it's really big on mango and passion.
Yeah, it's so juicy, it's
Yeah.
unreal. And the mouth
Bitter as well, it just goes on and on and on.
It's a big beer. I mean, myself and Martin are double IPA geeks, and we've been fortunate enough to spend a lot of time out in the US, visiting, drinking with, speaking to the kind of best US draft brewers. So this beer is kind of born out of our experience enjoying the best American double IPAs, but also speaking to the people who make them in terms of the techniques and stuff that they use to get that kind of impact of hop character in there too.
What are your favourites? What are your favourite American double IPAs?
Well, it's not a double IPA, but it's kind of hopped and bittered like one. I think Sculpin by Balance of Wines.
Or the first release of Enjoy By as well.
Yeah, first Enjoy By. There's a Three Floyds one, they've got a few not Dreadnought, because that's kind of more on the malty side. I think it's a Arctic Panzer Wolf by Three Floyds, which is their super well attenuated, evil sharp, kick you in the face ones. Awesome.
Yeah.
Apart from yourselves, what other British brewers do you think are brewing this style well?
I think Beaver Town made a couple of really good double IPAs. Magic Rock do them well too, so yeah, I would say those guys.
Have you guys got plans to do like a Born to Survive, like the Enjoy After?
Not yet, but the next beer that we're going to taste
That's great then.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, I'll take that. Not ready at all. Let's do it. So what we're also looking to do with Equity for Punks is to build a sour beer facility, but then as well as sour beers, we'd like to make a few kind of throwback beers, so take IPA right back to its origins, take Porter right back to its origins. So like I think IPA back in the 1800s had to have had a kind of big Britannomyces character in it, and that's what Enjoy After is, and that's something that we'd like to do when we build this custom kind of sour experimental beer facility.
Yeah, so the sour beer we'll taste in a second is kind of a controlled lactic souring, so we allow it to sour in the kettle, but obviously the main brewery is right next door to the pilot system, so everything has to be done in a way where after it's soured we obviously sterilise it to take it back to kill off all the bacteria, and then we can ferment it out. And it is risky, but it's a controlled risk, and then our lab team are all over it, swabbing it after every time they've brewed to make sure there's no lactobacillus going anywhere that it shouldn't be.
And that lab team is so important to us. I mean, we've got equipment here again that we've invested heavily in. Did you guys visit the lab?
Yeah, we did.
So things like
yeah.
gas chromatography and like the in-house analysis and stuff that we can do there, just because the quality of the beer is what we live and die by.
They're
It's
working their
massive,
socks
massive
off in
purpose.
there. I can't believe the amount of stuff they do. The colonists in the shop.
So for us, I mean, the team, the people is
Rachel.
Yeah,
Right,
Rachel.
yeah.
Is so important. So we became a living wage employer last year, but that's just a part of what we do for our team. So there's a huge emphasis on personal development. We've got the second highest amount of certified Cicerones in our company as any company on the planet. So we invest in that, but we pay for the exams. We give people pay increases for each level of Cicerone that we pass. We do something very similar with IBD, International Institute of Brewing and Distilling. We're in the process of creating a Scottish apprenticeship for beer making and beer packaging, so investing in our team and our people, and we're lucky that we work with a phenomenal team here, which is
Yeah, we've got a huge sensory project that starts 2 weeks' time, where our first batch is like 30 of our staff getting through the Aroxa, our Cara technology sensory training scheme, so we'll end up with a huge pool of people that we can use in our tasting panels, and we'll know exactly how sensitive people are to different compounds and be able to have a very complex and sound system for analysing our beers throughout the whole process.
Knowing and hearing about your training and development and your attention to quality, how do you feel then about the people who instantly knee-jerk with hate at the very mention of your name? Because I've had hate, the minute I tweeted I'm coming up to you guys, hate, like totally irrational.
Yeah.
How do you react to that? Knowing that you do all of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we get all the time, and I think for me, if you're successful doing something that you love, you're always going to provoke that reaction in people. And hey, we've done things which are audacious, which are high octane, which have ruffled a few people. But back in like between 2007 and 2010, when we were doing all these things that kind of some people loved and some people didn't love quite so much, you've got to kind of put that in context of how the UK beer scene was then. And we had to shout quite loud to be heard. We had to shout quite loud to get the message out there, and all of those things that we did opened up a wider debate about craft beer and got more people excited about craft beer, which was ultimately the point. But I mean, we don't care. We don't give a damn what anyone thinks. We've got an amazing team. We're insanely passionate about the beers we make. We make beers that we love to make, and we have a hell of a lot of fun doing what we're doing. So if some people love us, awesome. If some people don't love us, that's cool too. And if we try and keep everyone happy, we're just going to lose the essence of what we're about as a company. So we don't care.
I do care, and I cry myself.
Telling you that, you're like the bloodshot of the crying.
He's had counsellors.
Does it help that you're up here in that way? So it's like your fastness, you know. This is the place, you know, no one can touch you up here. So this is beyond the wall.
I think it's easy to hate us from a distance, which is why we're always so keen to get people up here. Come up here, meet our team, see what we do, see the passion we have for like tasting beers and stuff. But yeah, I think whatever you do, some people's going to like you, some people's not going to like you, so we're cool with that.
You've been pretty loud at times as well, so
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So.
Thank you.
Not everything you do, but I love.
Yeah.
I love the total package.
Yeah. And looking back, I mean, we don't love everything that we've done, but we started this company off when we were 24, and I used to work in a fishing boat with no experience of running our own business, no experience of doing anything. We've done some things which are awesome, and some things which are not so awesome, but I think overall we've done okay.
Following from that though, what are your biggest regrets?
I think we're pretty happy overall with what we've done. Yeah. I mean, what was tough for us the last couple of years that we were in Fraserburgh, we were pushing a tiny cobbled together system to within an inch of its life, and we had to push that system so hard to generate the money that we needed to make the step here. But pushing very basic cobbled together equipment that hard, there was a couple of years where their beers were more inconsistent than we would have liked them to be, and that's something that we regret, but there was no other way for us to get to this, so it was something that we had to do, but that would probably be. But it's something that we were open about, something that we discussed on our website with our drinkers and stuff, and something we don't hide or share with.
Yeah, I think it's just general growing pains of a brewery growing quickly. You know, we didn't have much of a lab. We didn't have any real control systems on the process. You know, everything was done with completely manual valves. So if you've got 6 people brewing your beer during the week when you're running 24/7, if they open the valve a little bit differently each time, then by default you get inconsistency through your beers. But I think in general, for what we had and how big we were as a brewery, everything was kind of done as best as we could. And then, as soon as we could have some money to invest in better equipment and better procedures and more people and more experience and more lab equipment, then every time we've made money, it's been reinvested to make our beer better the next year.
Where
Yeah,
did
so
you
we've
move
never
to?
taken a dividend at all from the company, and everything that we make, we invest in our beers and invest in our people. And if people don't like us, we always say, just judge us on our beers and put something like this up against other UK double IPAs and make your mind up where you think we should sit.
When did you move here?
We moved here at the start of 2012.
And what's the total investment that's gone in here?
Total investment that's gone in here to date is just over 20 million, but the new facility that we're building, that'll be an additional 25 million. So by the end of this year, it'll be close to 45 million. And every single penny of that is spent with one purpose, and that's to make the best beers we possibly can, and that's all that we care about.
How do you raise the money? Apart from selling beer, obviously. I mean, you know.
Yeah, so equity for punks has been a key thing for us. So far with equity for punks, we've raised over 12 million across the 4 different funder rounds. And we've always been solidly profitable as a company, which is important to us. So we invest the profit, we invest the equity punk money, and then we've also had support from our bank HSBC, so it's a combination of those things.
Do any other breweries own any part of the company, I suppose?
Any other breweries, no, but we've got 2 American investors who are Keith Gregor and Tony Folio. They own about 9.5% of our business, and they also own Anchor in America, which is one of the best, most iconic, kind of like the first American craft brewer. So it's amazing to have that partnership in that way.
Did you say 9%?
It's between 9 and 10,
yeah,
and it's moving about depending on the equity pump coming in, because that dilutes there. So it's, I think 9.5.
I just got a referral.
Nice.
How many?
6.
Ooh.
Five was my target though. I'm not pushing it too hard. Just want that beer.
I got 2.
I actually tweeted out my code and 2 people used it, which I was which is quite surprising. And just back to this beer, the other cool thing about it is, for 8.5%, just how light it is. So we've used only very pale malt in there, and we don't want to kind of cloud the hops and kind of too much malt complexity. So this beer is all about the hops, so super pale malt body, just gives you enough of a kind of malty, biscuity backbone to let the hops really shine.
Yeah, 4 of our favourite hops: Amarillo, Citra, Simcoe, and Mosaic.
Beautiful.
Are you using any British hops?
In some of our darker beers, we use some UK hops, but I would say it's about 90% from Washington State.
Is it?
Yeah.
I was wondering, do you get them direct or do you go via the other?
Not direct. So I've actually got the CEO, the CFO, and our main buyer from Yakima Chief Hop Union. They're here today and tomorrow. So they've come across from America just to visit.
They're joining us for dinner tonight.
They're
joining us for dinner
tonight.
So if you guys want to know about American hops, we have the
Yeah,
I'm
sure Dennis will stand up and give us a
Yeah.
half-hour presentation on American hops.
Really good.
So they just asked me on Australian and New Zealand hops.
Did either of you ever visit that fake Brewdog bar in Shanghai?
No, I wanted to, and it was something we were kind of excited about as well. But unfortunately, it's changed into somewhere that you now bet on snails racing.
Okay.
Which
That
is
sounds great.
let's go. Especially when it comes to sport.
We got it down now.
We were betting on snails in one of the what was the name of that bar? So long ago. Yeah.
Dirty Nelly. So whose idea was the sour beer facility?
All of our ideas come from one collective consciousness. Yeah. Or they're all the dogs' ideas.
It's something we've wanted to do for a long time. When we moved out of Fraserburgh, we used Fraserburgh for a while to start making some Berliner Weisses. It was just too hard to come into a new brewery and get this up and running and run the old brewery at the same time, so that we eventually shut that one down, and then with the pilot system here we're doing, like I said, controlled sour beers, but the ultimate goal is to get a facility where we can just go wild with literally.
Go wild.
So
It has to be contained then, because you've got lots of wacky.
Well, you just don't want it near your.
Yes.
You know, we spend all day and all night making
Yes.
sure this is as clean as possible, so
Yeah.
you don't want any wild yeast or bacteria migrating across.
So this one
Oh,
is...
sorry, can I just very quickly ask?
Yeah.
Someone's tweeted saying, how can they get hold of Born to Die? So when's it on?
Born to Die will be launched on our website and our bars next Thursday.
Great, because he's going, I want one now, he's just tweeting me, so
Yeah.
I need to tell him before he has a heart attack. I'm with
So,
you.
so the bits and beers were made at Christopher while we were brewing here.
So this one, the final beer in our tasting just now, is something that we've made in our 10 hectoliter pilot system, and for us it's really important, as well as our relentless focus on making our core range beers like Punk and Dead 40 and Jackhammer as good as they possibly can be, to do things which are kind of really out there and different, and that's key to our business. So this one is a deconstruction of one of our favourite cocktails, a whiskey sour. So we've tried to kind of recreate those flavours in fermented form.
Yeah, so the base beer was just a lactic soured ale, and then once we fermented it out, it had a hell of a lot of lemon in there. I'm sure you can taste that. There's some spices in there as well. A little bit of there's a touch of cinnamon, a touch of nutmeg, and then there's whiskey, a cut up whiskey cask. So the chunks of stave went into the, bourbon cask.
Yeah.
It's a cut up bourbon cask that we put into the tank to allow the bourbon character to soak out into the beer. But you can taste the sourness. It's pH 3, so it's got the same pH as actually biting into a lemon, so it's really, really tart.
Does it have a name?
It's just called whiskey sour, so it's just a tiny batch. It's just keg only. So yeah, kettle soured. So we soured it in the kettle. A lot of the kind of darker crystal caramels in there to give you that kind of sweetness, kind of bourbon, kind of slightly spicy kind of sweetness, and then bourbon soaked oak cut up from a bourbon cask in there with lemon juice, orange juice, and some lime juice after fermentation too.
Do you think?
Sorry, interesting because this is kind of sour and a bit different, right?
Yeah.
More goes to lemon.
Yeah.
Do you have a name for it?
Whiskey sour.
You can't put whiskey sour. The Siren had a beer called whiskey sour.
Oh,
I think it was called Pilot 008 Whiskey Sour.
yeah. We just have 20 kegs of it, and no one except us is going to sell them. And I think this must be the second last keg, because it's been honest. Yeah.
What strength is it?
It is 7.5. Yeah, 7.5.
A session beer.
You
Session beer for a Friday in Scotland.
Session relative to an actual whiskey sour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Session whiskey sour.
You're planning on opening a distillery.
Yes.
Do you think you'll do a whiskey?
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to do a wee bit of distillation up here, and a lot of the breweries that we love, if you look at Dogfish Head, if you look at Anchor, if you look at Ballast Point, they've all got kind of really small niche distillation operations on site too, and that's the kind of thing that we want to build here.
Because Advents does quite a good little
Yeah,
distillery
Advents
down
does
there.
actually.
Just some nice little bits and bobs.
Yeah, some were, well, whiskey we're really passionate about. I think probably 70% of the people that work here are kind of big whiskey fans and buffs. So we're really excited to start making some Scotch and see what we can kind of do to make Scotch kind of up to date and interesting again. And then we'll also have a column still as well, so we can make our own neutral spirit that we can have, a gin or vodka as well, some white spirits as well.
And what you should do to the people that kind of tweeted you hate that you were coming here, just tweet back, I completely agree, and Martin is the most despicable human I've ever met. Just tag him, that Martin Dickey.
I was just like...
That Martin Dickey's a fucking asshole.
I actually said, I don't give a crap what you think. And that's what they like, I hate, there are so many other breweries you can go and visit. It's like, I don't give a crap what you think.
You can visit them
You're
too.
not on the journey. I'm on the journey.
Well, that's the thing about beer though, it's like football. Or rugby.
It's tribal, isn't it?
It's
It's
ridiculous.
tribal.
But on one level it's great, on another level it's like, really? It's just,
But I mean, our position has always been the more people that's enjoying good beer, then the better everyone at making good beer is doing. If you look at the States, craft beer is 16% of the market, and they've done that through working together to grow that market share.
16?
16.
Morning less than 19.
Huh?
Morning less than 19.
Oh,
Well,
right, yeah.
11 in volume and 19 in...
Okay.
Wow.
Good,
That's
so,
good,
yeah,
yeah.
19, that must have been last year's.
Yeah, that's still going.
Yeah, and what we want to do is we want to get people really passionate about great beer. So if it's our beer, it's beer from Colonel, Cicerone, Magic Rock, Lovey Bonds, Brewed by Numbers, Ballast Point, McKellar, and that's why our buyers will sell half of our own beer, but also half of what we do is like a carefully curated selection of our best beers from all over the planet. So,
So is there an exclusive club then, in that you talk to and kind of confer with other breweries in Britain that you like you mentioned, Magic Rock, Beavertown, that sort of thing? Is it only those guys, or are you open to any other brewery going, actually I'd like to talk to you guys about how you do things and what you do?
Yeah, no, completely open. So we have loads of breweries visit us and take a look at our system, so we're completely open. We're just about to put a Google map of our whole facility online, so anyone can come in and have a tour about and see exactly what we do here. So it's a pretty open thing to do, but yeah, anyone wants to come and visit, well, you must spend time with them, we'll talk through what we do here, and I think it's that sharing of knowledge is so important. And we're involved in setting up the, I don't know if you guys have seen it, UCB with Beavertown, Camden, and Magic Rock, so it's the United Craft Brewers in the UK, which will be the UK equivalent of the Brewers Association, and that's to promote and protect the interest of UK craft brewers, but also share knowledge within the craft beer community, so everyone can make better beers and change the face of the UK beer industry, which is what we want to do.
I haven't heard that. When was that?
It was announced quite low key about a week ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so low key, we didn't even hear about it. I didn't.
Have you not gone to it?
No, I haven't heard about it. You haven't, no.
There's a press release due early next week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's kind of
How exciting.
Yeah, so that's something that we've been involved
What are you
with.
going to do with that isn't already being done? Okay.
Well, I mean, for us, we don't see there's an organisation in the UK that represents the interests of the kind of new wave of craft beer that's emerging. So there's Cameron and Seabat, which do their own thing, which is cool, but there's no one like the equivalent of the BA in America. So an organisation that promotes and protects the interests of UK craft beers at home and overseas, and kind of shares knowledge within the business team.
So what will be like top 3 things you'll do as part of that?
We will organise one amazing UK-wide beer festival each year, which will be based loosely on something like the CBC in Copenhagen. We will put forward what we believe is the definition of craft beer, which we can then use with how was that? Demonic little laugh, right? We can then use because you can't have a federation of craft brewers unless you define what craft beer is, because how do you decide what's in there? And then we're also going to share learning resources with the BA, so we're going to take advantage of what they do, incorporate some of that, and have one event each year where it's about sharing knowledge within the UK craft beer community.
And sorry, who did you say were the other key
So it's been set up with Logan from Beavertown,
Yeah.
Jasper from Camden, and Richard from Magic Rock.
Are you still members of SEGA then?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
We have been intermittently, but we just got so frustrated that we didn't renew our membership.
It took so long to do a keg competition. I remember I was on about it so many years ago.
Alistair who?
Hook.
SAD? Sorry.
I think he spent a lot more time fishing now. Yeah.
Gone
definitely got some
fishing.
new rods.
I was really impressed with these facilities. My history with Brewdog goes back to 2007, when there were 2 rather nervous young guys in a cellar in Glasgow, presenting their beers to a group of beer nerds, and you didn't have even have labels on the bottles.
Yeah.
Riptide and Punk IPA.
Yeah, I remember it. Just
Did you have a vision of things getting this big?
I think we had a bit of a vision, because it can't really happen by accident, but at the same time this was like best case scenario, and we've always been really ambitious, and it's core. What we want to do is get other people as passionate about great beer as we are, and we realised we couldn't do that unless we made more beer and distributed more beer. So yeah, it was always something that we wanted to do, but I don't think we ever really believed that we could do it.
Or envisaged a room with an octopus in the
Yeah. That's all we ever wanted to do.
Yes.
Speaking about early history, you got into the Swedish market quite early, like in 2008. How much did that mean to your early business?
We got listed by Symbolic, which is the Swedish government monopoly, before we even knew what it was. And we just submitted a beer for a tender, and we ended up getting a phone call say that we've got a listing with Symbolic, and we're going to need, I think it was 100,000 litres next year, and at that time we only had tanks to make 25,000 litres, so I was like, okay. Yeah, so we had to get some tanks in pretty quickly, but Sweden is our #1 export market. Punk IPA does really good things for us in Sweden. We've got a couple of bars, one in Stockholm, one in Gothenburg, so yeah, Sweden's our biggest export market, and it's been our first export market, and we're the same people from day one, so yeah, it's really cool.
You know that Punk is the second most sold ale, any ale at Symbolic.
Yeah, so behind Newcastle Downhill, which is really exciting for us. Yeah, Sweden's been amazing.
Why did you decide to set up a chain of bars? I mean, they're difficult enough to run a brewery expanding at this rate.
Everything is completely selfish. So we make these beers because we couldn't find the beers that we wanted to drink. We opened the first bar because we couldn't find somewhere in Aberdeen that we wanted to go and hang out and have beer. We couldn't find somewhere with passionate, knowledgeable, evangelical staff, somewhere with a selection of amazing craft beers.
So you're going to set up a bar in every town you want to visit?
That's what we're doing at the moment.
But if we want to showcase our beers in the best possible manner, then the only way we can really do that and control how it's done is by having our bars throughout the UK. So we know that when anyone comes into our bar, they're going to be welcomed, and the staff are very knowledgeable. They know all about all our beers and all the other beers that are on tap as well. So it's not about going in and asking for whatever at 5 AM and the bar staff have got no idea what the beer is and don't really give a shit what the beer is. If you come into our bar, then it is actually, it's all about the beer. The bar's like a temple of good beer, and everyone in there really cares about the beer.
Do you take them here to train them and so on?
Yeah.
That's always made your bar stand out, as I know from my opinion. Your staff training and enthusiasm is brilliant. And people aren't talked down to, but then your staff knows something. It's not like certain big chain bars where they say, well, I think it's just dog.
It's like such a fun way when someone comes in and doesn't know anything about beer. It's like then trying to understand, well, what flavours do you like, and then trying to see which beer off the list that you can maybe start them off in the journey on. So it's a great way to engage with the people coming in.
Do you think it's rubbed off your staff training on Wetherspoons in a way, because you sell laws now?
Potentially, I mean, what we wanted to do, we saw it as an industry where the staff didn't care, so we wanted to invest in the staff and elevate the status of beer within that industry. So hopefully it is driven up, and we're quite counterintuitive in terms of how we do a lot of things as a company. And we've actually got a metric that we measure and bonus our staff on, which is how much beer they give away. So the more tasters that our bar staff give to customers, the better, because we want people to come in to not know what they want, for our staff to give them tasters to speak about those beers, whereas most companies shy away from giving beer away for free. We want to do that because it gets people excited and passionate about beer.
So I haven't had the customer, just come in and ask for a small one.
No, I mean you're an awesome customer, and if you've got that knowledge, great. But for people that don't, we want to be able to give it away to get them excited about it. Which beer have you guys enjoyed most out of the little tasting? What's the favourite?
Born to Die.
I like the whiskey
The whiskey sour is
sour.
really excellent. I mean, Death Pony is a beer I've drank a lot of. I think Electric India works better at its new ABV. I would drink more of it. Saison's certainly a beer I drink when I'm in the mood rather than all the time.
I'm interested you call it an American Saison. My experience of some American Saisons is they just hop to hell, and that makes me think of Bologna rather than Pennsylvania as in
But I mean, it's using hops that give it that kind of sort of lemony citrus flavour, as opposed to heavily dry hopping or whatever. Just I'm using American hops as opposed to dry hop.
Yeah, it's a beer you want to drink again, not just, oh, this was exciting.
Yes,
what's the next one? That's kind of...
with the burger.
Will you, you said the whiskey sour, we're on the last keg or something. Will you be doing that sort of thing again then?
I mean, it's an ongoing experiments through that. So there's a cherry sour in at the moment, which is pretty cool as well.
Oh,
It's just
cherry
that
sour.
exploration into sourness.
Some of us will even try.
Yeah, and Brewing is such a small batch, we can just line up the cases outside and see if we can kill the batch today. You're not going to even here until we've drunk it all.
good sound.
And then we'll film it and put the video on the website.
But will you be making more of these?
So the plan with Burnt to Die is to make it twice per year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something that we'll do a small batch of twice.
And with the same recipe, or?
Yeah, the recipe will be the same.
Yeah.
The recipe as well.
Would do a South Pacific hot one?
Potentially we could do potentially. I think that's got some good ideas.
On the training, which is great and really compliments to all your bars, because as Aidan says, it's a delight going in there, and I'm always very happy to recommend people to go in. So why did you choose the Cicerone system?
Because any equivalent in the UK means you go somewhere and you go home at the end of the day with a certificate, regardless of how much you know or how well you did. So the Cicerone is hell of a tough. The certified Cicerone, and we've now got 30 certified Cicerones within our company. There's just a 25% pass rate in exam.
Really?
So it is hell of a tough. You have to work hell of a hard to do it. And we felt that accreditation was closest to what we believe in, and it's something that's tough to do, which gives it much more value than the ones that you just get for turn up.
Also, Ray Daniels is cool.
Yes,
he is. Super cool.
He is, yeah. So we
So
we
did you
fly there.
find it like, because when you're in the States and they are good, is that the way you found it?
Yeah, I mean we found the Brewdog and then we did some of it ourselves. We looked into it, but just what it teaches in terms of how beer is made, different beer styles, best practice when it comes to storing, keeping and serving beer. It just kind of encapsulates so much of what we believe in as a company. It's hell of a tough, but we like the fact that it's so tough, and we do training in-house to pass the various exams, and there's 3 levels, so there's certified beer server, certified Cicerone, and master Cicerone. We've got people working towards all of those.
So, you kind of, you do the training here, you don't send everyone over there?
No, but then we fly the examiners and the people over here to do the exams twice a year.
Are you ever going to extend that further to other people able to come and...
Yeah, so we've actually been doing that. So we opened it up to all equity punk investors who wanted to do the exam. And then this time, when they fly over in August, they're also doing an open exam in London that anyone can sign up to, as well as the exam for their team. So they're doing 2 exam days in London. But it's an amazing initiative. It's something that's a lot of fun to work towards, and it's a really good qualification that we believe in a lot.
So there'll be a Brewdog University eventually.
Well, we've actually got a PhD student starting in about 2 months' time to do their PhD on hop and how hop interaction and hop extraction and flavour stability and stuff. So that's going to be the first of our PhD projects on the process.
And I think we can't say we're all about knowledge and understanding unless we back it up, and along with IBD qualifications, work closely with the Heritage Walk Brewing School, and then with Cicerone, that's kind of how we back it up.
Why do you throw cats out of helicopters? I just got asked to ask that.
So for us it was symbolic, and I mentioned that for us historically, small companies have got to make a choice when they're raising finance, and for me the city and the financial institutions within the city, be that London or New York or wherever, with their relentless focus on profit above all else, gave rise to the culture which led to the bastardization and homogenization of beer that we've seen globally over the last 70 years. So we wanted to make a statement, we wanted to do something that signified a new dawn for beer, a new dawn for small business finance, and kind of take the problem out of the source. And I wanted to see if I could get over my fear of heights as well.
You did a good job.
10 minutes before I landed, my legs were shaking so much I wanted to hug the pilot for extra safety.
Did you rent the helicopter or buy it outright?
Do you know how much helicopters cost?
It's actually my helicopter.
Yeah, it's his helicopter.
One important question. There were 3 of you starting this. The 2 of you are not dog. What happened to the dog?
Sadly, the dog had cancer and passed away when he was 4 years old. So the dog didn't make it.
But it lives on in the
He left a legacy.
Yeah, he left a legacy. But there's a few new dogs now that have kind of picked up his mantle as 4 odd Padawans in his legacy.
So with the meantime news this morning or whenever, the obvious question is, would you guys envisage being bought out?
And the obvious answer to that question is, fuck no. No, I mean, we, as a company, with how we're set up with equity punks, and we also offer deals for kind of key employees to be able to own part of the company. So yeah, I mean, we're doing this because we're insanely passionate about it, and we're doing something that we love and something that we believe in. And it's the route that they've taken, but it's not the route that we would choose to take.
What do you think of employment-owned companies such as New Belgium?
I think it's a really good initiative. I think New Belgium have done a fantastic job with that, and it's something that we like.
On the flip side, Susanna's question, do you ever envisage yourselves doing the buying out?
No, again, it's not what we're about as a company. So we have our development fund. So with our development fund, we take minority positions in breweries that we're really passionate about and love to help them get set up and going. So a key example would be that we invested some cash in Brew by Numbers, but as well as invested cash. We have 4 of our fermentation tanks that we used to have in Fraserburgh. We've helped them with international distribution and bits and pieces. So we're also doing that with Cap in Sweden at the moment, so we want to help in that way, but we're not a company that wants to buy their breweries out at all.
Yeah, it's good with Brew by Numbers, and we've got a lab facility here, so all the issues that we had from our 2 years old, 3 years old in Fraserburgh, it means that they've actually, they can send us up whatever they want sampled, we'll sample it, test it, and give the results back to them. So it just means that hopefully, they can be a little bit clued up more than we were at the same age when we were in Fraserburgh.
So we've committed to giving at least using £100,000 worth of profit each year towards our development fund, and that's going to help the breweries that are starting up cash to expand and develop, but also myself and Martin can give them the kind of learnings of some of the things that we've learned along the journey of expanding their brewery. But it's always a minority position, it's always got a buyback clause bought in for them, it's got no control and realize nothing, and we want to keep it that way and help showcase their beers and get more people excited about the beer.
And how have you been involved in the Cap Brewery in Sweden?
Yeah, so Cap's undergoing a few changes at the moment, so they've changed their packaging. I don't know if you've seen the new packaging, but we've kind of consulted on their equipment and their setup and various bits and pieces, and then we're also going to start doing their UK distribution for them. So we're kind of launching them in the UK at our AGM, which is going to be on June 6th, and then we're going to showcase their beers and their bars in the UK as well. Our AGM, by the way, we're at about 5,500 people signed up for our AGM, which will make it the most well-attended AGM in the
Where are you putting them all?
Huh?
Where are you putting them all?
Where am I putting them all? They're going to put themselves where they want.
No, I mean, like, where are you holding
and we've got the Aberdeen Exhibition and Conference Centre.
They can't fit in here.
So, no. Yeah, this space here. And it's where they do the kind of big gigs and stuff in Aberdeen. So yeah, we've got space. But if any of you guys are about on the 6th of June and want to hang out, we've got Ballast Point, we've got Beaver Town, we've got our beers, we've got Brew by Numbers, we've got Cap, we've got Twin Atlantic playing, we've got Idlewell playing.
I heard a rumour